Alright, first of all, let's put the red lights on because this video is going to get pretty angry. Alright guys, so this is kind of an impromptu video. I wasn't planning this much in advance at all, but I was kind of snooping around on Plant vs Zombies Reddit the other day and this came up. This one YouTuber, the Completionist, I've never seen him before, forgive me. He did the top 10 worst sequels and yeah, from this title alone, so the number one spot is PvZ 2. Where Girard, sorry if I mispronounced that name, starts talking about things that aren't even true. So I had to have a look at this as soon as possible. So this video is kind of a reaction, kind of a rant. I did skip to number one already to see what he said about that. And oh my god, the misinformation in there, good lord. So yeah, here it is. 133k views, which is kind of my concern because a lot of people might just see this and then just write Plant vs Zombies 2 off because of what he said. As far as likes and dislikes go, it's got a few dislikes. Yes, I'm using a plugin to restore them because why the hell wouldn't I? I've seen a few comments complain about PvZ 2. I'll get onto that like later on though. But hey, let's tear this video apart. So like I said, I did skip to the end. I'm actually going to skim through the whole video because I'm kind of curious to see what else he's put on. In fact, the Link's game here is Overwatch, which makes me curious because I actually just started playing Overwatch 2 last week and I'm enjoying the game so far. You might see on a couple of community posts that I've started playing it. So is that considered a bad sequel or something? I'm genuinely curious about this. So yeah, I guess we'll see that in the video then. I will put a timestamp if you want to skip the Plant vs Zombies 2 bit because let's be honest, that's what you're all here for. Right, let's do this.
There's nothing quite like a good sequel. Games like Arkham City, Portal 2, and even Super Smash Bros. Melee took foundations set by the original.
I like how Super Smash Melee gets an even. Is that usually considered better than the original Smash though?
If we look to, let's say, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as a sequel to the first game, that's correct, but Sonic Adventure is not. Also, as is always the case
there should be a
with
Sonic
these
one,
lists,
really,
if I
shouldn't
haven't
there?
played them,
I'm gonna go back quick.
that's correct, but Sonic Adventure is not. Also, as is always the case with these lists, if I haven't played them, I'm not talking about them.
Well, that's probably bull, as you'll see later, but
so
yeah,
if you're looking
get
for a
onto
list
that
dunking
soon.
on Duke Nukem Forever, just go watch Mojo or something. But enough.
You're encouraging people to watch Mojo. Interesting. Skip this intro. Okay, one thing I will give him credit for quick is the fact that he has got timestamps here. That is really handy.
I tend not to
here it
play
is.
most modern multiplayer as they're not really my speed. Fortunately, the biggest reason for the change wasn't to better balance or expand the game, but to change the way players could be charged. Sure, moving away from loot boxes is good, but Overwatch 2 utilizes the Battle Pass model. Players who buy the Battle Pass have automatic access to characters and gear that free-to-play players need to grind out.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with this, to be honest. The Battle Pass does seem like very pay to win for the most part. Like, at least on Brawlhalla, it's not even that bad. On this game, yeah, it seems a lot worse. So there was a loot box system before, okay, that's interesting.
Meaning if you want that edge, it's going to cost you, which is kind of scummy. Beyond these predatory practices and egregiously priced
Okay, predatory is a
skins,
bit of a stretch,
though,
mate.
5v5, with an end overall reduction of maps from 1 to 2, lobby issues, and really no transparent plan as to what's to come for 2023. Step forward and then we've kind of completely fallen down a flight of stairs while kind of stepping to the left, like doing a split as you're falling down the stairs.
Yeah, that analogy was a huge miss.
I will say though, I do remain cautiously optimistic that things can improve, and maybe, just maybe, Activision Blizzard won't just follow the money on this one.
I mean, it is a free-to-play game, so like, they've got to make money somehow. But honestly, I've not really played the game enough to really know how bad it is, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on this one.
Some of my favorite games of all time.
Well, okay, it looks like there might be a Sonic one then.
15 years later, and it turned out that Sega wanted to buck that trend.
Okay, Sonic 4 is an interesting shout. I thought you would have gone for the 2006 one, which is like one of the most hated ones.
I was excited because I loved the OG games way back in the PlayStation 2 era.
Oh, okay then. Never played this game, but I think it's probably worth touching on this just because obviously I know the whole Battlefront 2 controversy and how EA got the most downvoted comment on Reddit just for its pure greed. I think it's relevant to mention this because later on, going to go on the whole EA versus PopCap thing and how EA actually has done some scummy things to some games, so yeah.
And its sequel came, and the money issues were worse. Much worse. Battle Pass was back. In fact, EA's response to a Reddit user lamenting having spent $80 to purchase Darth Vader, only to discover that it was the wrong currency, was received so poorly that it actually earned the Guinness Book of World Records for being the most disliked comment of all time.
I got Guinness Book of World Records for that. What?
All that being said, I've got to give credit where credit is due. The developers did remove all microtransactions from this game and have been steadily adding content over the years.
Didn't they stop supporting the game? I think I did read in the comments that It's now a pretty good game, but it's a shame they stopped supporting it or something. Right, here we are, number 1.
List already.
Well, there's music.
Games that, one, they monetize off of your nostalgia or...
Okay, the fact he's always used the word nostalgia kind of paints a red flag over what he's going to say here.
Respect for the franchise, with tons of over-the-top, weird money-spending options.
Yeah, they're not over the top in this game, but continue.
And 2, those games were produced and funded by EA.
Oh, and there's the EA mention. Yeah, right. So if anyone who's out of the loop, PopCap are the one who put the microtransactions in, not EA. They're just the publishers. And if you don't believe me, I'll link some documents in the description that prove this, along with the whole George fan misconception.
It was a simple strategy game that looked great and was easy to pick up and play. In fact, developer PopCap Games had a knack for making games like this. But then they were purchased by EA, and you won't believe what happened next.
Well, that sounds like every thumbnail ever made on the whole downfall of Plant vs. Zombies thing, doesn't it?
Zombies 2 wanted to have plant food you could purchase to make a level easier, or DLC packs that give the player a bunch more levels. And
yeah, that first one sounded like a really crap idea. I'm glad they didn't go ahead with that.
But right when this idea was presented, EA bought PopCap and lit the whole garden aflame.
You mean improve the game massively? Hell, this is how we got the console games as well, but go off.
Instead, Plants vs. Zombies 2 has rentable plants where you can pay money to have a plant for a short amount of time.
What? That is complete bullshit. The whole rent-a-plant system is you can watch an ad to get a premium plant to use in one level. That's it. When you buy a premium plant, it's full. You have the plant now. So where the hell did you get that from?
This is some dead-ass bullshit.
Yeah, you're speaking some dead-ass bullshit.
That was an easy answer for it, and now some of those plants were behind a paywall, temporarily, and then it's gone again.
Temporarily, we already know that's a lie. In fact, one other thing I'm going to go over quick. You can see from right here, he's using some old footage. Hey, it's even got the power pinch in, remember that? This tells me he's not even played the game, he just went off some popular misinformed take on the internet, and then just grabbed some stock clips from years and years ago. Yeah, that's completely stupid. At least play the game before criticising it. That might sound hypocritical of me, given I sometimes speak negatively of BFN, even though I've never played that, but at least I've not made a video on it with my 1.57 million subscribers that are going to eat up every word I say. Anyway, back to what I was saying before, like the specific counters, he makes it sound like you need certain premium plants to counter some zombies, which is like, no. 1, just get good at the fucking game. And 2, Plant vs. Zombies 1 was way more guilty of this. You had like the balloon zombies, you could only counter them with blow or cactus, which was very specific. Plant vs. Zombies 2 doesn't really have anything like that.
What gets me mad about this is Plants vs. Zombies 2, at its core, was a good game. You'll have fun playing it. But if you really want to experience the full game, you're going to have to drop a lot of money.
No, that is also bullshit. I don't know how he's trying to determine the full game, but dude makes it sound like you have to pay in order to get to the later worlds, which you absolutely don't. In fact, didn't he say earlier on that he defended the original decision of like having DLC worlds? I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I mean, look at the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC stuff. That ain't bad. Yeah, it's not the full game. You don't need to pay for Arena. You don't need to pay for Penny's Pursuit. And then again, even if you are missing out on those two, a lot of people would argue that's not a bad thing anyway, given those modes are not well liked.
EA could have done what they did with Star Wars Battlefront 2 and fix this, but they won't.
And then lose out on money because, once again, it's a free game. They need to make money somehow. Sorry that you can't get everything for free, but that's the self-entitlement of modern gamers, I see.
Plants vs. Zombies 1 was ported to every single console and mobile device known to mankind.
I'm not exactly going to argue with them there. I did mention this in my videos of why PVZ1 is better than PVZ2. Full disclaimer, or if you've not seen that video, I've done the other way around of PVZ2 being better than PVZ1. But on the first video, I did mention how it's good that it's on more devices. So I guess I have to give him the slightest iota of credit there, but it's not nearly enough to undo all the bullshit he's spat out everywhere else.
That game on your iPhone or Android where if you just look at your phone long enough, it's just going to take your money.
Yeah. Oh boy. I can't really add anything to that I've not really said. It's not pay to win at all. If you're good enough for the game, you can do it without spending money. Also, it's been a long time since they've added like a full-on money premium plant for the game. Given they've now adopted this CDM system. Sure, you could argue it's a little grindy, but once again, if you do it enough, then you'll get them anyway.
Of course, EA would go on to make more games out of the Plants vs. Zombies franchise, but this was the end for me.
Well, that just proves you closed-minded then. I mentioned a few minutes ago how EA buying PopCap actually did a lot of good for the franchise, given that we got the shooter games. And for what's worth, Garden Warfare 2 is my absolute favourite Plant vs. Zombies game, so honestly, you could even argue you got better from there. Sure, it kind of went downhill after that, but the end of it was PvZ 2 just because not everything was free. Jesus Christ.
The whole brand has been tainted, and for me, I can't see it coming back to its full glory, especially since the Plants vs. Zombies 3 beta was received even worse.
Well, okay, he's not wrong Plant vs. Zombies 3 at all, but he says even worse. Was the Plant vs. Zombies 2 reception really that negative? Obviously, a lot of people were complaining about microtransaction and stuff, but surely it's way better received than Plant vs. Zombies 3 ever was and probably ever will be.
Update, upon rewatching, he used the old Plant vs. Zombies 3 beta, so his point on that is redundant as well.
And as someone at the time who actually spent a fair amount of money, someone who tried to give this game
a did he now? Okay.
Shake, I walked away still seething about this game whenever anyone brings up Plants vs. Zombies.
Sound like you have some anger issues then. He says making this exact video, but you got to say I have some sort of point though.
Because of that, Plants vs. Zombies 2 is the worst video game sequel that I've ever played.
Alright, two things about that. First of all, this clip here, I don't know if it's his own one or not, given he has established that he has played the game. Why the hell wouldn't you use a blower to blow away the jetpack? Like, see what I mean about this guy having a skill issue? Also, how are you going to say this is the worst sequel you've ever played? Like, that sounds like an extreme exaggeration. Alright, now we're done with this fucking bullshit video. Let's see in the comments. Top one links. I feel this guy, no offense, because I've never seen your channel. I know he has one. This guy probably summed it better up than I did in this entire video. You defame the thing, countering is that. Yes, exactly. You aren't a PvZ fan if you just desert the franchise and spread misinformation. That is exactly what this video did. Thank you, mate. If only you could love other people's comments, you'd be my first one, believe me. 1.6 million subscriber influence. That is one of the biggest reasons I made this video, because this guy has tons of subscribers. A lot of people are going to watch this, like not having any prior knowledge of Plant vs. Zombies 2 and then just mindlessly shit on it.
Alright, so I'm going to leave it there. This video absolutely spewed misinformation. It's probably going to brainwash people into thinking that Plant vs. Zombies 2 is a complete and utter cash grab. So I think I'll end the vlog somewhat. Thanks for watching.